Good morning, Geo. Little impromptu video here today. How are you?
I'm not too bad, actually. I'll be honest with you. I've
Mm,
got over yesterday's defeat
have you?
already, pretty
No.
quickly. Yeah, I was a bit peed off last night, but I woke up this morning, watched the highlights back. I'm okay now. I'm ready for. I just wish Nottingham Forest was almost midweek rather than next Sunday. It feels like a long time to wait, but I'm looking forward to next Sunday already, actually.
Well, we're going to record a video in a minute. We're going to do our player ratings, aren't we? So we'll go through that. So we'll find out a little bit more what each other thought about yesterday. Although I did drunkenly phone you up last night, didn't I? And say, was it crap? And yeah, anyway, we'll discuss it. But we're discussing Issa Diop today, aren't we? Because, well, I think my first awareness of it, I know we've already done videos on this channel that Issa Diop is moving on. I understand why that would be the case. We were originally going to sell him to Fulham, and then you understand we have a bit of a centre back crisis. So Moyes says, "Hold on, I want to hold off." I think the first I knew about it was travelling home from the game on the train, and I start. Funny enough, I click open the One Football app, which I'm sure we will promote at some point during this video. Little freebie one there, and I read, and then I start reading other articles that David Moyes has David Moyes has gone full Slaven Bilic, really, and pretty much said, "I've got a player who's refusing to play." Have I got that right?
Yeah, Moyes said Diop's made himself unavailable for the last two games, which is, I think that's the saddest thing about it all for me, Gonzo. It's not necessarily that Diop's leaving. I'm sort of okay with that. I get it. I'm just sad about how it appears that the relationship between Diop and Moyes and the club is deteriorated pretty quickly as well over the summer. He's gone, he was playing it when we played our first friendly, he was involved and we didn't think he would be. The last friendly last week, obviously, Moyes just said he was made himself unavailable. He's been in Toulouse, he's been over in France, didn't play yesterday when we needed him, and he's been doing cryptic posts on social media for the last week, one earlier today as well. And I feel it's just sad, actually, because it's just a horrible way to end the time spent at the club. He's been here for quite a few years now as well, and I think he's a good centre back, and I'm a bit sorry it's not worked out for him. And but just rather he left with our best wishes than rather than us being pleased to see him leave because of everything that's going on in the last week or something. I think it's just turned sour a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, without all this stuff, which, as you know, I'm very unaware of, because let's be honest, we do a few things behind the scenes when we're setting up a video, and Geo said, "Oh, I've lined up this screenshot for you." And I said, "What screenshot? I've not seen this screenshot." And the screenshot is of something that Diop has tweeted, or his Instagram, or his Snapchat, or something like that, which we'll go on to in just a second. But before any of this stuff, I actually had sympathy with Diop. I really do, as you know, for similar reasons to Elise, really. And I just thought Diop's thinking, well, he's never really had a proper chance under David Moyes, a real shot at being one of the top two. If I know sometimes we play three at the back, let's say we play four at the back. He's never had a real shot at being a proper first teamer there. And even then, last season when people were injured, Diop came in, he did really well. I think possibly the second game against Olympique Lyonnais, outstanding. I might have that right. And you think that actually that should be enough. That should be enough to guarantee you to get into the team, to stay in the team for a while. It's never really happened. So I've got every sympathy. We signed another centre back now. He but probably doesn't still feel part of things. Let's pull up that Instagram post and let's try and translate it. You have to excuse us. We're using technology so we can show you sort of live as we record. Talk shit. I don't understand what the last bit is. That's obviously what the first bit is, right?
Yeah, you'd imagine it's someone's chatting a load of rubbish, and then possibly, which is he doesn't know what's going on, and he finds it funny or something, or maybe he's just laughing. And it's hard to not feel like this is aimed at David Moyes. It might not be, but I get the sense that this is probably aimed towards David Moyes' comments yesterday. And I think what Issa Diop is essentially suggesting, and this is how I pick it up, this isn't what Diop means, this is how I interpret. I think Diop's basically accusing David Moyes of chatting a load of rubbish and that he hasn't made himself unavailable for the previous two games for whatever reason. He's just been left out the squad. And this is why I said I think it's a bit sad. It's got to this point, really. As fans, we're obviously second-guessing what's going on. Do we take David Moyes' words as gospel, or is there a case that Diop has been pushed out to the sidelines and he's trying to say, hang on a minute, your manager's not speaking the truth here? It's difficult to unravel it as a fan base. We probably will never know the truth. However, I've got a little bit of a feeling that I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the end of it from the Diop side of things. I wouldn't be surprised if, come his first interview with Fulham, he said he's pleased to join Fulham, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was to say something about how he has been available for the last 2 games. He's just not being selected or something, as if to say, I'm fit and ready to go, Fulham fans. Don't you worry about that. So I don't know.
Well, if you want to find out precisely what Issa Diop is going to say when he goes to Fulham, if you want to get that news delivered to your phone straight away, then look no further than the One Football app, which is right up there. But you can't click up there to download it. You need to click the link in the drop-down box underneath this screen. The One Football app is a magnificent application. It really is. It's my favourite football app. It's Geo's favourite football app. Even when they're not sponsoring the channel, we still use it all the time because it's the best place to keep up to date with all the club news. You tell the app which team you support, then it delivers that news to your phone, whether it's transfer gossip, tittle-tattle, rows between a player and a manager, results. If you really want to dissect and see all the statistics of how Manchester City beat West Ham, you probably don't. The One Football app is your one-stop shop for all your West Ham news. Click the link below to download it. So, Geo, 17 million, is that about right, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a fair fee for everybody involved. I think it's a fair fee for West Ham. We've made a small loss in regards to the transfer fees and stuff, but I think that's fine. I think we've maybe paid 3 million in transfer fees. Let's simplify and stick to transfer fees. We've maybe paid 3 million to have him at the club for a few seasons. I think that's fair. I think it's a fair fee for Fulham. I think they're getting a reasonably well-experienced Premier League centre-back of a good age and a good standing. I think he'll do well for Fulham. I think it's a good signing for them. So, yeah, I think it's ticking all the boxes, actually. And it'll probably get Diop what he wants, which is first team minutes. I know Fulham have obviously come off the back of a good result against Liverpool at the weekend. So you initially might look at it and think, oh, Diop might struggle to get into that. But I think over the season, I think you just soon discover that perhaps their centre-backs in particular. I don't like Tim Ream. I know he's a captain, but I'll be honest, I don't like Tim Ream. I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. I think Diop should be able to dislodge him at centre-half and almost become their main centre-back, really, which is probably what he needs. I think he needs to feel like a big fish in a small pond. And I mean that with the most respect to Fulham as possible. I think it's a good signing for them.
Yeah, I think so as well. And as Toyson plays for him, right? I think he played relatively well against Liverpool, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, really, because I just wish it hadn't have happened like this. I wish it could have been handled differently, that's for sure. But I do, not in this bit. The thing is, I have sympathy with the player, then he does this, and I have less sympathy for the player, basically. I think this is really it. I've got no problem at all. He's not involved. He's not part of the first team plans. When I say he's not one of the first choice, he's also not really the first choice off the bench if everyone's fit. I think the question is, though, whether David Moyes is going to use this money. And I don't think it's about money, actually. I don't think this is about us getting money into coffers. I think it's just us getting rid of a player who clearly doesn't want to be here anymore for reasons which I totally get. I think the question is, are we going to reinvest that money and bring in another centre-back ourselves? Because, look, a Gerd coming in, David Moyes' comments would suggest he wants him because of his style of play. That much was clear. What we've seen of Gerd, we like his style of play. However, to see the team against Man City and to see 3 centre-backs and 2 full-backs in there, don't know what the deal was with Dawson. Certainly rumours last few days that Dawson, he's not going to kick up a stink. Dawson wouldn't do this, but Dawson maybe would like to finish his career up north and go back home, really. And Ogbonna's not, well, that doesn't look particularly fit at the moment. Do you think we're going to bring another one in?
We have to. We absolutely need to take somebody in. I think it's just a question of, are we going to go short term, try and bring in a loan or perhaps a cheaper alternative or somebody, or are we going to go for the long-term solution? Because as it stands, Dawson and Ogbonna are in the final year of their contracts. I think it'd be fair to suggest that neither of them will be here in 12 months' time. They might be. Hopefully they are. I mean, they've had a good season. But given how long it's taken Ogbonna to come back, and like you said, Dawson's perhaps got hopes of finishing his career up north, and they're both the wrong side of 30 now, comfortably the wrong side of 30. I think maybe we should be looking at the long-term option to come in, so that next summer we don't necessarily need to go straight into the market for a centre-back, because we would have Aguerd, Zuma and new signing available. And yes, we would still need a fourth one, but the pressure wouldn't be on then. So be interesting to see what strategy I think Moyes takes in regards to the calibre of centre-back, how much money he's going to spend on a centre-back, because when we have done our scouting on Nathan Aguerd, obviously we were looking at looks of it, 20, 25, 30 million pound centre backs. He wouldn't have been the only centre back we were looking at. So there would have been a couple of alternatives there. But I think it might be fair to assume that they're also going to cost big money, because you've got 25 million spent on centre back and you're scouting a couple of 25 ones. You don't then scout a 2 million centre back just in case you don't get the big one. You scout another couple of big ones as well. So I'd imagine underneath Aguerd there was a couple of names, and I do wonder if Moyes is going to bring out that list and go, right then, who's next on the list? That guy, 20 million. Let's go get him, and let's really put Zuma under pressure when Aguerd's back, because let's face it, he's got his own injury concerns. He did not look fit yesterday himself. And if he was fit, then he wasn't trying very hard at some points. So I don't think it's a bit of an... A month ago, it looked like we were going to have 5 fit senior centre-backs to start the season. We've now got half a fit senior centre-back.
There you go.
It's gone downhill pretty quickly. But as I said in the review yesterday, and I thought this would be unpopular, but nobody's really criticised me for it, so I'll say it again. I've got no sympathy for the situation we're in regarding the centre-backs. Aguerd got injured 3 weeks ago. We knew 3 weeks ago our new signing was going to be out to the World Cup. We knew Zuma's been hobbling around for a couple of weeks. Dawson missed 3 weeks of pre-season. They've known the situation with Agbona this whole time. They've known the situation with Diop this whole time. There's no surprise factor that yesterday there was only one fit centre-back. That wasn't there was a bit of a surprise Dawson hadn't made it, but that was it. There was no surprise there was no one on the bench or anything like that. So I don't have loads of sympathy in that respect. I've got sympathy that Aguerd's injured for a while, but from then on, I think we've been quite slow to react to that news, and it's a bit disheartening a little bit. I just hope this week we crack on with whoever it is. I hope that we get somebody in for the Nottingham Forest game. Actually, if I can make a signing happen between now and then, it would be a centre back. I want a left back more than a centre back, but I think we'll get by against Forest with what we've got. Without another centre back, I'm not too sure. I thought Ben Johnson looked okay against Man City, but I also thought he didn't look like a centre back at times. I'm not sure we can allow him to sort of grow into that role, because it will cost points. And I would argue that both goals yesterday, Johnson was at fault for, which it's going to happen, but it's going to cost you points.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, we know one thing we know is that David Moyes likes to buy a centre back, so we don't need much encouragement. Another thing we know is that Geo thinks Fulham are a small pond. That'd be there won't be any Fulham fans, but actually there will, won't there? Because they'll see the Diop thing on the screen. He didn't mean it. He loves Fulham. He thinks you're a big ocean rather than a small pond.
I'll stick with it.
It's gonna, there you go. A small stagnant pond. We're only joking. We're joking. Lovely, lovely club from. Right, myself and Geo are off to record our player ratings on Patreon. I'm going to stick the end slate up now, and I'm going to say I will be back tomorrow to tell you all why I think we need another striker. Cheers, Geo.
Bye-bye.